Kia ora, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. So we're in the final chapter of the Rise of X, the Cavalier event for this month in Marvel Contest of Champions, and we are going to be taking down Apocalypse. And so, first of all, I'm going to show who I'm going to use for the line, and I've got a big shout out to a guy called Slice of Life from my alliance, who actually brought up this method. See, because of the personal space there, you can actually bring in a Ronin to help you clear the line. You can't do it on, I think, Deadpool and Iron Man Infinity War through the middle, but you can do it for a lot of the fights on this line because of the personal space. As you go through, they gain more Furies, and Ronin the Accuser stands there for longer, and you can basically just stun lock them the entire fight. So you can bring in someone like an R2 Ronin or an R3 Ronin or a 4-star version or even a 3-star version probably. And once you've got a couple of Fury buffs on that personal space ready, then it's just stun lock time. And that works for a lot of that line, and so I brought in Ronin basically to clear the entire line, and then I brought in some of the others for the final boss. Predominantly I brought in Doom, I brought in Warlock, I brought in Human Torch, and I brought in Havok as an attempt. So you see here she's got now five Furies. I'm going to throw that SB1. You can see here now I've got a super long stun, and I can just chain those stuns, keep throwing the SB1s all day long, and yeah, this is pretty much going to be the next like 30 seconds, and it doesn't matter that she's at SB3 because she's never going to come out of the stun, and as the fight goes on longer, the stun's going to get longer and longer anyway. Yeah, so this is really a nice easy way to kind of just cheese this whole line, and then you end up at the boss, and you're gonna need that because this boss this month is quite tricky with this event, and he's got a few cheeky things about him, so you're probably gonna need to bring 4 of your best and good counters that will be able to work against him. So being able to just drop a line down to, just Ronin, being able to finish it is really great. But you also, it also really rewards Mystics this quest. So even if you're not using Ronin, if you're using Doom, with the node that benefits Mystic, you'll be doing a tremendous amount of damage as well. So I use him like against Nova and stuff. So we get to the final boss. The final boss is Apocalypse, and he looks really badass. He's got 300,000 alive, 65,000. He is a villain, so you can, with Blade, you could probably shut down some of his stuff. He's basically going to be immune to Bleed and Incinerate. He's got Foresight, so basically if you intercept him, you gain Fury, and he's, we're going to get into that later. And if he's got a damage over time debuff on you, he's more likely to do specials. And so let's have a look at kind of what his skill set is. So his ability allows him, his sig ability allows him to rejuvenate between fights. So basically like use a potion between each fight, so this is really good. Now, with his abilities, basically what you gotta figure out is that in Cavalier and Uncollected, you're basically jumping to 3 and then 4 genetic code, which means he's stun immune while striking, and his 4th light attack will inflict a stun debuff on you. So if you get hit with a 4th light, forget about it, you're pretty much gone. He also develops immunity to Bleed, to Incinerate, and to Disorient over 8 seconds, so you can't really rely on those because he's going to quickly become immune to them. Also, evaders are not going to be good against him, because every time you evade, he gains like plus 10 chance to reduce your ability accuracy, so after a few evades, you can't evade him anymore. His heavies does bleeds and refreshes a lot of debuffs. And his specials, they cast some debuffs, but also they cast like weakness and poison, or concussion and degen, basically, depending on how he ends his attack and then which special he throws. The SB3 kind of puts all those 4 debuffs on you. And in this event, if he throws an SB3, you're done anyway. And then, yeah, he's got this pre-fight, cross-fight ability, which allows him to do stuff like become fully bleed resistant, do more damage on the specials with the prowess, have more ability accuracy, go unstoppable for 3 seconds when struck, go unblockable when your opponent purifies the debuff, because he does rely on debuffs. Yeah, so he's a little bit tricky. So the first thing that you got to think about is that you can't basically parry this guy, okay? Because when he's stun immune when striking, so you pretty much have to create openings or intercept him. But yeah, you can't parry, you can't block, so you have to play him pretty much stun immune. Now his SP1 and SP2, they're both quite similar actually, and they're both, the physical part of them is pretty easy to evade. The beam part of them, I haven't figured out how to evade it yet. I might have to go down to lower difficulties to figure out how to do that. So he's gonna do 3 beams, but how you evade it, I'm not sure if it's like 3 short dashes or 1 long dash or how it works, because I tried to evade it very unsuccessfully. And you probably see the second SP as well. It's kind of like this, Taekwondo move, and then he throws off 3 bursts, I think, as well. So again, not fully strong enough to evade them yet. So the best way around it is really to just evade the first part, which is the physical part, and then take the block. So there you go. He throws away 3 balls, and then he does some other, Taekwondo, Eddie Gordo shenanigans, which you can just back away from. That's not really a big deal. The other cool thing as well with using Doom is you will actually stun him. So it's not that he is stun immune. He's stun immune while striking. So that means you can't parry him. But, however, you can stun him and you can chain stun him. So you can stun him with Doom, you can stun him with Wasp, those kind of things. So you can still run off one of your rotations with Doom, but then to bring yourself back up to SP3, you're going to have to intercept. You can't just parry and continue that combo. So I'm trying here to get back to my SP3, trying to intercept, and I'm probably going to take a little bit of block damage here and just die just from blocking that SP1. But that's okay, because first run with Doom, didn't know too much about this guy, and we were able to take him down 50%. So I take that as a pretty good run. Could I finish him off in one? I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Doom is definitely one of the most useful counters against him. So the next thing I try Warlock, and as you can see here, I'm just dancing away. I'm trying to kind of like find an opening to intercept. He doesn't regen, so it's not like Warlock has anything great against him. It's just I'm really just trying to intercept. I think Hyperion as well might be quite good. Problem is the Incinerate. You can't rely on the Incinerate damage, but you could definitely intercept quite easily with the SP1 against him. The other option is if you're really good, I've seen, is if you're a really good Quake player, you can easily take care of this guy. I didn't bring Quake into it either, because remember, every time you evade, he reduces your ability accuracy, and at some point you can no longer evade. So Starkey, Quake, those are kind of out. But I think with Ghost's phasing, I feel like that still works. Now Havok, I found, so Warlock didn't work that great, but Havok I found was actually not a terrible counter. There's a couple of reasons for this, because when you're intercepting, you're doing a bit of damage, but also because the longer the fight goes on, and a lot of the fight you're spending dancing around, you're spending trying to create openings, those plasma charges continue building. But also the other cool thing is that his SP1 is energy damage. So when you're blocking the SP1, and I think Havok has pretty high block proficiency, but when you're blocking the SP1, you'll see here, I don't take a lot of damage, and I'm generating plasma charges on that. So he ends up just killing himself by you blocking the SP1. So I had a pretty decent run here with Havok, and from memory, I think if I had just held on a little bit longer and was just able to throw my SP3, I would have been able to finish him with just Havok and Doom. So I'm going to try to do a Havok one-shot at some point, probably later during the week, because I think he's a really good option. You can see there I get hit with the 4th light, I get stunned, and now I'm up against it here, because I had to find that opening to throw my SP3, but I didn't, and that finished off the fight. But if I had thrown the SP3, he only had 100,000 life, so he would have been pretty close to dead, or definitely in assassin range. So I come in with Human Torch. Now Human Torch, it's a little bit hit and miss, because you can do a lot of damage with the Novas, because they bypass the Incinerate. He's not immune to Nova. Problem is Human Torch is quite soft. He's quite weak. He doesn't have very high block proficiency, so he takes a lot of chip damage, even if you get accidentally clipped, or if he's hitting your block and you're not even trying to parry him. So yeah, but with the Nova, I am doing a significant amount of damage to him, better than I had hoped actually, and he's definitely well within the assassin range. And I reckon, if I had played a little bit better, I reckon Human Torch could have finished him off. But he throws that SP2. I don't know how to evade it, and it's game over. And I probably would have died even if I blocked that and went through chip damage, right? So that is how it is. And so I go back to Doom. I throw 120% revive, because this was a pretty good run, man. I mean, I haven't had to use any revives in this map apart from against Magic and Professor X. And yeah, and now I guess against Apocalypse as well. But yeah, I mean, that's really not too bad for a first run through of Cavalier. So it was just one revive, and yeah, we're able to find the opening, get in here, just finish him off. I'll need to find one more opening, even if I head into his block. Try to kind of bait out that heavy if I can, or just intercept him and take care of him. So hopefully this helps you guys out if you are struggling with this guy. If it did, like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Kakiteano, bros and girls.